Okay. Testing the audio, see how this sounds. Hopefully it's not miserable. Maybe. Okay. Testing the audio, see how this sounds. Hopefully it's not miserable. Testing the audio, see how this sounds. Oh, don't want that looping. Alrighty. I haven't played this in like 2 months. Month and a half. I should probably tweet out that it's live. Be responsible. Yeah. One of these days, Genshin Impact will just stay up and not come down every time I click off of it. Maybe they've changed settings that I can look into and find to fix that, but it's never not annoying. Okay. Tweet it out. Check on all this stuff that I haven't looked at. Well, I did sign in the other day just to update everything. I think I played last probably like a week or so after the last time after I streamed this. So like beginning of January. So it's been a while. Okay. Kind of forget what my team is even at this point. Yeah, running these four. Right, that's what I was doing. Did I replace? No, I didn't replace the main character because they're my only level 60. Let's bumble around in some side quests here. Ah. I feel like I probably missed several events in the time that I haven't played this, but that's kind of always the case. Just somewhat annoying because I know there's probably some characters I could have gotten that now I won't be able to until they make them available again. But whatever. nice to at least play something that isn't technically also kind of work. Because the only other non-YouTube work-related game I've been playing is PUBG. And PUBG might as well be work. Because it's always stressful, especially anymore. Every time I play PUBG anymore, unless it's like the customs that I play in, it's a lot. It's like running into like 4 or 5 streamer teams, I feel like, every night. And not that you can't sneak a win out, but it is challenging. Yeah. I am way out of tune on this game. Probably get the mage first. Alrighty. Yeah, definitely haven't played this in a while. Jesus. It doesn't help that I'm in an area that's just a goddamn lake. I'm not prioritizing the people that are freezing me for some reason. Alright, problem solved. But yeah, playing Genshin for the first time in a couple months. Maybe completely out of tune with it anymore, but it is at least a nice relaxing game to kill a few hours with. By comparison of playing PUBG and getting... I have fun with it, it's just consistently kind of an uphill battle. I can just fast travel back to this. What am I doing? I wonder about the current Wish events and all that. Is there anyone that I... There's no new characters. Okay. Well, that is unfortunate, but not terribly surprising. I know there was a couple events that I missed out on characters, but in fact, let's see if there's any characters that I'm just... character archive, that's what I was looking for. Oh yeah, that dude. And I played a little bit when, I think that was when the last time I played it was her event. Oh well, still aiming to get Beidou. Don't know that I ever will. Just run through all these dailies. I think that once I get through the dailies, I probably have enough to do a 10 stack of wishes. That's far. Hitting all the wrong menu buttons still. Probably easier to go there. Hopefully my snacking is not super loud. Oh yeah, that's definitely coming through. Just chowing down on Chips Ahoy right into the mic. I thought this was going to be on top of this mountain. Oh well. Game's still really pretty. I haven't gone to the ice area still that they introduced back in like December. I want to like get through the base games now. Wow, that was a hell of a shank. I want to get through the base game before I go over there. I'm still like a little ways out from the end of like the initial main storyline content. Jesus. Stop firing at me. One thing I did notice is that they haven't added like 80 new upgrade paths and whatnot, which is like the first time. Usually when I'm not played this for like a month or so, I come back and there's now like 8 new leveling tracks you can grind on and slowly earn materials with. I need to get. Well, I like these combos of characters, but could have sworn I was using another somebody else besides the main character last time I was playing. I feel like it was another water character, maybe, or ice. Somebody that comboed with Fischl. There we go. Mm-hmm. Oh. Missed this the last time. That's fine. Worth it. And I should probably kill the healer. That's would be a lot smarter than just letting them fix all the damage I've been doing. Nope. Not having played this in not that this game is something that's super challenging. I'm still doing fine, but having not played it in a little while, the same way that MMOs kind of have, you get a rotation. This game kind of has a rotation to it with your characters, and I just completely forgotten mine. That giant guy fell down, didn't he? That's fine. This, where I miss having a fire character to help deal with these shields and comboing it with my main guy here to just kind of burn them real quick. Alrighty, on to the next one. Yeah, the gacha stuff in this is mostly, I don't want to say okay, because I don't think that stuff's ever okay, because it's manipulative, and the whole point of it is to prey on people who can't manage, or can't, don't have that self-control, which isn't their own problem. It's the game's problem for taking advantage of that. Personally, I don't have too much trouble not I don't have trouble just straight up avoiding things that are trying to manipulate me into paying money. If I don't want to pay money, I'm not gonna. I've had no issue with getting good characters in this game, or at least characters I am enjoying playing with, but it definitely gets to a point, like, at where I'm at now is kind of a grind to get to the next, like, story stuff, just because of, like, let's see, I think I gotta be, I need to be level 35 in my adventure rank to get there, and I'm 32, and it's probably gonna take me, like, 5 hours to get to that, maybe, no, probably more like 3, and it was a grind to get to 30 the last time. So it can be a little bit annoying with that, but it's also the type of game that I can just kind of zone out and play for a few hours. Usually when I wasn't like busy just doing video stuff, I'd play this like an hour every morning and be able to get through the grindy bits a little easier. I should probably heal him so he doesn't die as soon as I jump into battle here. Ah, that's what I forgot to do. I don't think I ever finished that. I think that was like potentially an event to like get a permanent little pet character. Oh well. Wow, I don't. There we go. Good enough.
Evil be erased, mind be purged, world be... I always forget that last part. Swift and merciful.
Let the show begin.
Yeah, that's fair. Having played Final Fantasy XIV for like 100 hours and not I've never been a big MMO person, so the grind of it kind of just got to me eventually. On top of not really enjoying the story of it, I got to the end of the first big DLC or expansion. I'm forgetting the name of it. The one where you go to the snowy place and have all the dragon stuff going on. Totally blanking on the name of it, but I got to the end of that pretty much and just wasn't loving it. I kind of want to jump back into Final Fantasy XIV though. I don't know why. Like, I didn't like it that much, but I think this sort of scratches a particular itch that's nice to scratch every now and again. I guess what this game kind of does, but like, I like the community stuff of Final Fantasy XIV well enough. Like, I liked hanging out in cities and just chatting with random people. Heavensward, yeah. There's enough grindiness to this that you probably don't need multiple grindy games in your life. Like, I always find it weird when like a company like Ubisoft puts out like 6 Destiny-like games in a year on top of, you know, the world just already having 18 games like that. Like, people really are only ever going to commit to like 1 or 2 of those things at most. Like, you find your MMO, you find your Destiny-like game, your looter shooter, your Schluter game, and that's that. You don't play Destiny, you don't play... oh god, what's the Tom Clancy one that Ubisoft has that they put 2 out that did fairly well. The Division. Yeah, I know people like absolutely adore the story of Final Fantasy XIV. I know there's some people like say, "Oh, it's the best Final Fantasy story." And as someone who like, thanks, AJ. Um, as someone who's I've never played a ton of Final Fantasy games. Mostly just I played 10, 15, and that's about it. And like a couple when I was real little, like Crystal Chronicles. So I can't say, I can't weigh in on whether it's the best Final Fantasy story, but I wouldn't say it's a good story in general. The stuff I remember from Heavensward is it's really generic, like, oh, the church sure is evil. And it's like, yeah, organized religion sucks. Lots of things wrong with it, and the game doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere with that stuff. I kind of got motivated to play Final Fantasy XIV, mostly just because of the Nier Automata stuff, because that is a game I do enjoy. I was kind of curious about. I heard people say good things about like the raids that, or the raid for the Nier Automata stuff in that game. So, but that's at like the end of all the content that exists pretty much right now. So it's like hundreds and hundreds of more hours. I'm never gonna play that much. Like I have enough issue getting even to like the end of this game's base content. Duck people are always welcome to jump in and help me if they want. I'm probably just gonna grind for a bit and take out some bosses. So if you want, feel free to send me a friend request on here. I noticed that they still just have the user ID sitting there in the right corner. Doesn't bother me, but I'm sure there are other streamers who don't want people spamming them with invites while they're trying to play this game. Seems kind of silly that they don't just give you the ability to block that. Probably should have waited to. I'll just run from this. Yeah, I like having people come in and help me out. Mostly because I've not played this game super often, so I'm either like just out of whack or under-leveled for stuff. This isn't the character combo that I wanted to go in with this, but oh well. Oh, that. Kind of forget how to do this boss when I haven't played in so long. There we go. Wow. It's a lot more than I thought I was going to get. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna run down the coastline here and do all these things, all these bosses, and maybe do some of the little dungeons or whatever they're called. I totally forget. Yeah, feel free to join. What's it up to 4 people, right? Have at it. Send me requests. Also, ignore me while I'm stuffing cookies in my face. Taku Bounty, yeah, I saw all the stuff. Like, I saw bits of what they showed from the new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, and there certainly is a lot of stuff in there. This is like, this looks like it should be in Star Wars. In fact, this looks like you took it from Star Wars. Like, I know there's even like a blue character in the in that expansion that looks a whole lot like I forget the character's name in Star Wars, but they're one of the musicians, the little blue elephant looking guy. They look almost identical. It's kind of weird. What flavor of cookies? I am just stuffing my face with Chips Ahoy because I'm not at my house. I'm at my brother's house doing some dog sitting while he and his family are taking a little vacation up in the mountains. And they have a 5-year-old son, so there's lots of Chips Ahoy and stuff around the house. So I'm just stealing my nephew's snacks. I have zero shame about it. I'm gonna switch my characters here, because this seems like a bad combo. In fairness, they said I could eat whatever I wanted to eat from their house, so not completely, stealing if it was offered for the most part. It's only minor inconvenience to my nephew when he gets back and maybe wants some cookies, and he ain't gonna have no cookies. Well, sure does make killing these things super quick when I have people in here that are like level 80. Alright, next one.
Swift and merciful, from whence you came.
Yeah, you have the pet. I got like you both have pets, don't you? Now I feel I wish I had finished that event. I got most of the way through the treasure seeking thing, and just I think I stopped because I was working on a video or whatever. Now I wish I had actually done the work. Now, it was just really decimating this thing.
From whence you came.
Go, Barbara, go! Go, Barbara, go! Oh.
I think people, when this game first came out, Taco Bounty, it did certainly look a lot like Breath of the Wild, especially like the opening area. And it takes like clearly there are some like it's inspired by Breath of the Wild in spots. Like there's the climbing, like you can climb on everything in this game essentially, and it has the meter just like Breath of the Wild. There's if I can eventually find a spot to jump off of a cliff, like it still has that same gliding thing to get around. Like you have a giant, you have a little parasail thing, and you just float about. Like this. Like the exploration in this game is definitely inspired from Breath of the Wild, but it's not like Zelda where you're going into dungeons like Zelda-like dungeons. Let's see. Let us go to this ley line thing. Don't play Breath of the Wild. Ugh. That's fair. I love Breath of the Wild, but I also have not played it in a while. I want to go back to it and do... I know all the DLC didn't end up being as story-oriented as people were hoping for, but I'd like to replay at least a good chunk of that game and get to the story stuff for the first time. The DLC story stuff. I did find it incredibly funny yesterday with the Nintendo Direct. Aonuma comes out and says, you're probably thinking, oh, it's the guy that makes, the Zelda games. They're surely going to talk about Breath of the Wild again, finally. Sorry, that's not what I'm here for. I mean, I'm fine with the Skyward Sword remaster. I liked Skyward Sword, at least I did when I played it a long time ago. On the Wii U, right? It's good. I would say, I mean, it's hard to be like, oh, wait for it to go on sale if you haven't played it, or like wait for the price drop, because Nintendo never really drops prices on stuff. So if you're gonna play it, you're gonna end up having to pay. I mean, I don't think Breath of the Wild's price has dropped ever from what I've seen. And I think it's kind of silly that they're charging $60 for the Skyward Sword remaster. I think it would probably be a little more reasonable at like a $40 or even a $50 game. I get that they're doing a decent amount of work to it because they're giving regular controls to that game, because originally it was just motion controls, which obviously plenty of people who do not like motion controls struggle to get into Skyward Sword, or just straight up never bothered with it. And I think that's a shame, because there's good stuff to that game. So I think it's nice to see Skyward Sword finally hopefully get a second opportunity. Yeah, it's Nintendo are great in a lot of ways and bad in ways that are unique to them. It's always at least amusing. I wasn't paying attention and I fell down this ravine. I don't feel like climbing the ravine, if I'm being honest. But I guess I have to, because there's not a quicker way up. It's not like a convenient spot. I did see some talk about, like, yeah, they're also doing the work for bringing Wind Waker, the HD Wind Waker, and the HD Twilight Princess over to Switch. Which makes sense, because like they've brought most of the Wii U games over to Switch, because why not? Like, console did really poorly. I think it would be a shame to have. I mean, I'm not a huge Twilight Princess fan. I think that's my least favorite 3D Zelda, but it's still a good game. And I think the things that they changed for the HD version of Twilight Princess were certainly helpful, like making the bug hunting a little less tedious and changing up some of the. I think if I remember correctly, they changed up some of the open world stuff. It's also just not as ugly as a game. Oh no, to what? I'm like doing the thing I always do with this game, and half paying attention, half not. Yeah, the Switch. I like that they're porting just like so many random old games and like some of all the Wii U stuff over, like the Ninja Gaiden ports that they announced yesterday. I mean, I'm all for that. I'm happy that they've brought stuff like like Star Wars Pod Racer and one of the Jedi Knight games over. Just like, the Switch is a fun console. It's neat. Some of the stuff doesn't run well, given its lack of power, but I do like the Switch a fair bit. I mean, honestly, the chances of me getting a PS5 or whatever the hell the Xboxes are called, Xbox Series X, Series S, whatever, pretty slim. In fact, I confidently say I'm probably never going to get another Xbox console again. Not because they're bad, but because I tend to have a decent enough PC, and Game Pass is a good offer. And every exclusive to Xbox just seems to be going on PC day and date anymore, and on Game Pass for no additional price. Yeah, like they put weird ports on there too on the Switch, like that that zombie game from like the PS2. Like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Throw that on there. Like, it clearly feels like there's a lot of developers out there that's like playing their Switches and be like, man, I want my old games on this thing. I want to put the things I've worked on over my long career on the Switch, and then they do the work for it. Oh, I'm almost level 33 at least. There's the next one. Yeah, thanks for playing. I always appreciate people coming by to help out because I'm not good at this game and I'm usually zoned out while playing. In general, I liked the direct yesterday. Like when they said they weren't going to show anything from this, it was mostly going to be focused on first half of the year stuff for 2021. I kind of figured we weren't going to get Breath of the Wild news. We would have known by now if that thing was going to be out by June. There was plenty of things that they announced that, like, the Switch has a heck of a lineup the first half of this year. Like, Monster Hunter Rise comes out in March, and what is it? Also, Bravely Default 2 is out in like a couple weeks. Pokemon Snap, new Mario Golf that they announced yesterday. There's that World's End Club, which I assume that's probably going to be on other platforms. That'll probably be also on PC and whatnot. That being the new game from Tokyo Games, the studio that has all the ex-Danganronpa and Zero Escape people. I have never played a Samurai Warriors game, but I'm happy that Koei Tecmo and Nintendo continue to have a nice relationship. Just means we'll continue to get things like Hyrule Warriors and whatnot, I guess. I would like to play like more of the Warriors in games. Like, I still haven't touched the newest Hyrule Warriors. I never played the Fire Emblem one, but every time I play one, there's usually things that, like, I only need one of those, like, once every few years, but I enjoy it. And they do some, like, interesting things with those Warriors games sometimes. Like, the Attack on Titan ones, especially 2. Like, the second Attack on Titan Warriors game was, like, weirdly, like, involved with its story. Like, it still only was just, following the plot of the anime, but, like, you had to create a character thing, and they did, like, you could, like, very limited but still kind of fun BioWare like hanging out with the characters and advancing friendship stuffs. Like, as much as the those series like tend to have the same style of just wipe out this massive enemy style combat, they do fun stuff around the edges of those games. Yeah, they're good for like the same way I kind of play this, and I'm not like super worried about what's going on in a moment-to-moment thing. Alright, next one. Where is the next one? Oh, way over there. What else did they show off it? That I assume the name is not finalized. I know they said it's just a placeholder title, but Project Triangle, whatever, the Final Fantasy / Fire Emblem / Octopath Traveler looking game. That seems rad. I haven't played the demo yet, but I downloaded it. I mean, I love the look of Octopath Traveler, and I probably enjoyed that game more than most. It didn't super bother me that the stories aren't very interconnected. Ow. Ah! I wasn't paying attention to my guy's health. But yeah, that triangle. I don't even remember the name of it. It's probably proof that it's a terrible. I really hope that they don't follow that up with just saying, "Oh, we're gonna take the project part off this name, but it's the rest of it staying," like they did with, because originally Octopath Traveler was called, I think, just Project Octopath Traveler or something to that effect. Let me heal this fool. Oh yeah, I gotta use a revive. That's right there. Yeah, strategy RPG and tactics games are one of my favorite genres. I love Fire Emblem. I love Valkyria Chronicles games. All that stuff is very much up my alley. Splatoon looks cool. It would be nice to finally get into a Splatoon. I always like play a little bit of them, and like, yeah, this is awesome. I will get back to this when I have more time, and then I don't end up playing them as much as I should, but I think that was probably because I mean, I played one, and I think I fell off it mostly because it was just on the Wii U, and I constantly forgot that I even owned a Wii U. I know that's still a ways off. They said, like, what, 2023 for that, so. One thing, I know people love to complain about everything in the Nintendo Directs when they don't give them exactly what they want, and usually people's expectations are wild and unrealistic. But was not a fan of the new Smash character, the generic-looking anime girl from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I don't love those character designs. I have not played Agorist War at all. Yeah, that new Smash character is super lame. I don't want another sword character, and that design is not particularly interesting. I know, like it's a Switch exclusive. They like to try to promote their games for their stuff, but just they can make so much more interesting picks rather than another like sword character that is just an anime girl that looks like she could be from 800 JRPGs or light novel anime adaptations. Like I suppose we'll have to wait and see like with how they involve her combat-wise, because they didn't really show any of that off. Usually when they do, that's when they announce a new Smash character. Sakurai has his like half an hour breakdown of every little minute detail of how the character plays. Yeah, it's too many sword characters. If they were gonna put in another sword character, what they should have done alongside announcing those Ninja Gaiden remasters was also put Hayabusa in. Not like at least that's a fun character that has like a lot of history with Nintendo and is not just I don't remember her even the character's name that they put in, but she just looks so boring. Like I know people had a problem with that with Xenoblade Chronicles 2's character designs in general because they were not great, and most of the female characters, their defining aspect seemed to be they got the big boobs. And it's not like they haven't put like sexualized characters into Smash before, because Bayonetta is obviously. But I just wish they would have gone with somebody else. Like I don't like most of the picks that people like the popular picks you'll see trending on Twitter the day of a Nintendo Direct that people want. Like I don't want Crash. I don't want don't really want Sora, although it would be at least a somewhat reasonable pick. The Master Chief stuff, Doom Guy, all that sounds terrible to me. Like, I prefer to have weird characters. Wasn't really huge on. I kind of forgot that Sephiroth was the last one that they announced, if I'm being honest. Partly because I haven't played since they put him in, or since they announced him, even. But just not a super interesting pick. Like, at least with Minecraft Steve / all the other versions of that character, like, they really seem to go out there with how they made that character play, and it seems interesting. And it's just like, he's a weird thing to put into that game. Yeah, it's odd that they don't have the original games on there, but do they have do they have the first Ninja Gaiden for the NES on the online on the Nintendo Switch NES online system, whatever the hell they call that thing? Because I feel like that's probably why they wouldn't put that in, because they want people to pay for that service. Which is still lame, but yeah, that too. It is multi-platform, which, fine, whatever. How far is this thing? Yeah, it's right up there. Go away.
Forth my blade. Submit for judgment.
Been frozen.
Swift and merciful. Spirit blade. Attack. Stabilize.
I also announced No More Heroes 3, which not a series I've ever played, but it's always something I've wanted to get into. That's another character. If they were going to put in another sword-wielding character, I'd rather see Travis Touchdown in there. I know they put in the costume of Travis a while ago, which usually means they're not going to ever put that character officially in the game. But at least, like, put in somebody who's interesting, who you can kind of, like, promote the series. Not that, like, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a huge game or anything, but...
Swift and merciful. From whence you came. One with my blade. Spirit blade. Attack.
Alrighty. I was kind of hoping we would get some idea, or like, not that Nintendo's ever gonna like, well, they probably won't ever officially explain why they're doing their weird time scarcity stuff for like how that Mario collection they put out last year is only going to be available to like what, the end of March. I was kind of hoping we'd maybe get some idea as to why they're doing that stuff. Because I know people suspect that, like, oh, maybe it's tied to some sort of like Switch Pro announcement, but that seems unlikely at this point that the Switch Pro would come out this soon. Ow.
Swift and merciful. From whence you came.
I'll protect us.
One with my blade.
Hey, Golden Ninja. Now the other reason people might like are sort of suspect that the timed exclusivity thing is like, oh, maybe this is when they'll announce like the N64 games for their online service, and they're gonna put Mario 64 in that, obviously. So they want people to then be more motivated to pay for it. But that didn't get announced either, and that seems like probably more of a end of the year thing at this point. Like, it seems like they're gonna announce a Switch Pro, and it seems like they're gonna probably have some N64 games on the on some sort of service like they do for the Super Nintendo and original Nintendo.
Let's dance.
Solidified. This is order.
Go, Barber, go!
Swift and merciful. Spirit blade. Attack. Disappear.
Alrighty, well, you were certainly cleaning up there. Alright, on to the next one is way over here. I have like zero faith in Nintendo will be nice about carrying things over for online services. Crap, there's some sort of barrier I forgot about here. Probably easier to just go out here instead of me trying to figure out how many am I gonna farm. I have no idea. Usually when I do these streams of me farming for a bit, I just go for a little while, like probably like a couple hours of this, because it's a decent way of me not really having to pay attention to something, but still being able to play a game and chat with you folks. I probably said an hour, but I'll probably go like, let's see, I started around like 6:30. Jesus, what is going on here? I'll probably do a few more. I might do some story stuff after that. I'm also not finding an easy way up, because it's probably better to go this way. It's probably overkill. Yeah.
Swift and merciful.
The thing is that I would like to stream something else sometimes. Like, I like playing this game on the stream because it's easy to not like fully pay attention to. But I don't know what else I like want to stream exactly, because I don't want to do anything that's like super story intensive that I haven't played before because I like to play story games by myself. I'm not big on playing a lot of like multiplayer stuff. Like I don't really care to stream Apex Legends or PUBG when I play that stuff. Yeah, I really just play this to kind of zone out and relax. Like I would like to stream more too, but also it's when I sit down at my computer to do something that's related to my YouTube channel, most of the time it's to write or edit a video. So if I'm gonna sit down, a lot of times I don't feel like streaming, or it's just I feel guilty if I'm streaming because I made a rule with myself I wouldn't stream before I finished the last video that I did, that Cowboy Bebop video, which is silly because like I was gonna get that video done either way, but I just wanted to make sure I got it done, and it feels like if I'm putting in time and effort into something on the YouTube channel and it isn't getting a video done, which is what technically people are here for and what I get a little money off of. Yeah, the reason I stream on my YouTube and not like I don't have a Twitch channel to stream off of is because it would be difficult to even like, not there's a ton of people here, but the past 4 or 5 times I've streamed on here, there's at least like a handful of people in the chat, and somebody is always jumping in to help me out here. I don't know that I would get that on Twitch because I don't have that 3,000 subscriber install base, and transferring your audience between platforms is difficult. Unless you are somebody who has 500,000 subs on YouTube and can just say, hey, I'm going to go stream on Twitch, and you'll guarantee that people will follow you. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could consistently even get 2 or 3 people to show up to a Twitch stream. Oh, that was quick. I do know that like people prefer streaming on Twitch because I think they do a better job of kind of facilitating the user or the viewer and streamer interactions, and also monetization, and like encouraging people to buy bits, encouraging people to donate, encouraging people to use their Twitch Prime subs. Whereas YouTube, it seems like it's more it's more work and less likely to make money off of YouTube streaming. Like, I think I have... Yeah, that's probably enough. I'm gonna do this last one that's standing right in front of me, and then we're gonna end it on this thing. I'm probably gonna pop over to do... I don't know. I'll find something else to do on this. I forgot that these guys are a pain. And I also just have a bunch of... Yeah. I think it definitely helps that, I mean, like all the bigger, bigger VTubers are on YouTube. So you have all the Hololive people, and now there's an English section of Hololive, and they're all people that have got to 1 million subscribers for their channels within a few months. Like I think they'll definitely help bring in more people who will just then watch more people on YouTube. Hopefully, it's the other thing though is like discovery on YouTube is not great, whereas you can kind of just on Twitch, you can look up like, oh, I want to see just show me everyone who's streaming Genshin Impact. That's a lot easier to get to than it is on here. Alright,
Standing around is making me so sleepy.
forget which one of these. Well, I have adventure stuff to claim, so I'm gonna go do that if I can. I might do a couple dungeons. Oh wait, I can't claim stuff while people are in here, right? Let's see. I was either gonna do some of these dungeons or just do some of the side story stuff. How much of the side story stuff do I have though? I have a handful of quests that are.
I wonder when I'll be as tall as my big sister.
Yeah, that's probably the extent of the grinding that I'll do for now that I need help with. Yeah, there are like getting attention on Twitch is difficult for sure. Whenever I click on YouTube, in no way is it pushing me to go watch a streamer of anything. It's always, just pushing more regular videos on me. Like, I never see live streams suggested in my feed, really. Thank you for helping me, by the way, Duck. Oh, okay. Well, reboot quicker, please. Is this some kind of practical joke? So my party's all messed up. Yeah, they really do need to like push streamers better on YouTube. It's not made obvious that like people stream on YouTube at all. What was my order again? I think Barbara was here. It's gonna mess with me if I don't put these characters back in their other order. Can I drag and drop? Do I? Just gonna remove everyone. Second her. And Barbara. And my dude. Alright, she doesn't seem to want to talk to me for some reason. Let's go to the other one, I guess. What am I missing here that I can't talk to these people? Because no one, I know usually it didn't allow you to talk to these folks if you had another player in your game. Oh. Probably also revive people on. What do I want to do? Guess I could just... Oh, it still says I'm co-op mode. Oh, I gotta exit out of it, don't I? Forget which. Yeah. Forgot about that. Forgot you had to manually leave it for whatever reason, even though everyone else has already left. How far am I away from doing some wishes? Barely short. I think it's what, 16? Oh no, it's 14. Oh, okay, I just need to... Well... Yeah, I would like... Cosmo from... Yakuza would be fun. I would like to see... Generally speaking, I like to see characters that have a history with Nintendo, and I would like to see, you know, since they're porting the Yakuza series to PC and Xbox recently, and done all those remasters and remakes, I would like to see some of that stuff come to Switch. I don't see why they couldn't. Oh, cool. New character. Finally got, I think that's my first 5-star actually. I should probably level her up and put her into the group. We need another 800, okay. Well, let's level Mona up, since it's probably the wise thing to do. She's my only 5-star now. I have been, like, a little disappointed with the DLC characters for Smash. Like, at least the last few, or this from this past, more specifically. Like, there's some cool ones, like, obviously Banjo-Kazooie finally getting Banjo back onto a Nintendo platform. I think that's great. Happy they finally put him in, considering he probably should have been in, like, the original. Or at least Melee. I need 2 more of these. Now, if I'm gonna do any of the story stuff here, let's start with this. Just do some side quests for a little bit longer. Probably play for another half an hour maybe, because I would like to go back to working on Mass Effect stuff. Part of me is worried that they'll end up putting, like, every time that I see, like, one of the Among Us characters on a Nintendo stream, or even mentioned, or, like, Fortnite, not that I'm, like, opposed to those games existing, but I wouldn't want those characters in Smash. I know that, like, some people suggesting them are mostly just doing it for the joke of it, but Nintendo sometimes interprets the jokes of their fans as actual desires. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Steve and Minecraft thing started as a joke. Eventually just enough people were like, you know what, that would actually kind of be cool. Nintendo said, yeah, sure. Because it's a popular enough game, especially among, like, obviously Nintendo's still markets itself as a family-friendly developer, publisher still. So it makes sense that they would have something Minecraft related on there. I have actually been watching seasonal anime for the first time in like a year. I just felt like getting back into a bit of the seasonal stuff for once. I watched, let's see, what did I watch from winter 2021? I wrote a little bit about them on my Patreon as a bonus post, but I ended up watching, I'm fully caught up on Wonder Egg Priority, which has been fantastic so far. Yeah, there's a handful of shows from this season that I've, like, sequels-wise that I was interested in, like Eurocamp Season 2, Beastars Season 2, which I haven't, I'm gonna wait for all Beastars to air before watching it. And Log Horizon Season 3, back at it after the author was told by the Japanese government, hey, you need to pay your taxes. Stop not reporting all your income, asshole. Which, considering the shit that manga artists usually seem to be getting up to, I suppose tax evasion's better than a lot of it. I mean, there was what? 2 people in the past year that were associated with the Shonen Jump that had sexual assault against minors or child pornography involved in their lives, so yeah. I know one of them was just a translator. One of their English translators, if I remember correctly. But still, that company sure does seem to have a lot of people there that maybe shouldn't be working there and shouldn't continue to profit.
A copy of each invoice is sent to the Ministry of Civil Affairs.
Also watched what's it called Skate the Infinity. I watched like the first 2 episodes of that so far. That's pretty good. It's just a Johnny Tsunami movie in a lot of ways. Just pretty boy anime characters hanging out skateboarding, and it's decently animated and directed, and it's enough of a goofy fun time that I'll probably see that out to the end. But Wonder Egg has definitely been like the standout, especially considering it is an original IP, and so much of anime tends to be adaptations. It's nice to see something that's an original creation that is like, one, like a neat idea, two, has been like just absolutely incredibly well directed and beautifully animated in a lot of spots. Like the last 3 episodes and the first episode were just tremendous. Though it's not something that like as much as I like that show, I'm also a little worried that maybe it's gonna end up screwing some stuff up, because it is walking a line with its content in regards to like, oh, it's all about just specifically stuff that trauma that young girls go through in regards to sexualization and depression and all that stuff, and it's definitely heavy. I've heard some stuff about jobless reincarnation that has put me off of it. It wasn't something I was gonna probably go out of my way to watch, but heard a handful of people talk about it positively, and then heard some of those people say, oh, well, hold on a second. There's some real creepy stuff in here. So I'll probably avoid it or not get to it anytime soon. Because at least, like, Wonder Egg has a lot of messed up stuff in it, especially in regards to sexual assault and everything, but it's not handling that stuff flippantly. It is, like, treating it with the weight that it should be treated. Kinda curious how they'll land on the gender stuff, given the one character Momo is more they do the princely type trope with her, like the princely anime girl trope, which usually goes into it can so easily end up going some real tiresome directions, but we'll see. So far it's been good. I don't even know where I'm wandering to at this point. Just been. Let's just navigate to that, I guess. The only thing that I've watched that I dropped was Uda Sekai Picnic, which it feels like a thing that the source material is probably the thing to go with if you're interested in it. was weird to see, like, be reading the summary on it and be like, oh, this is based off of the Roadside Picnic, the novel, the Russian, like, sci-fi novel. I'm like, alright. Not what I was expecting. But Udasekai was just it feels like it's dealing with the stuff that like the video game series Stalker and Metro are kind of dealing with, like specifically the sort of spectral sort of sci-fi fear of nuclear power that came out of Chernobyl and all that. It feels like it's dealing with that, but it's visually, all those monsters in that show look so plain and uninteresting that it's just super underwhelming. But yeah, you should definitely check out Wonder Egg. That's probably... I know like the big things this season are obviously like Attack on Titan and whatnot, but Wonder Egg seems like it's the original that everyone seems to be really fond of.
Join the Adventurers Guild.
That is the thing I always end up having trouble with keeping up with seasonal anime, is that there's like tends to be, when I was doing it, I was probably watching, well, I was definitely watching too much, because I used to do the thing where I'd pick out like 20 to 25 anime to at least try the first episode of, and most of them weren't worth it, but this season I just like looked at a handful of things and said, alright, I'm gonna give these a go. And there's I'll probably get around to Attack on Titan, and I'll probably get around to Attack on Titans eventually, but it's not something I'm gonna get to immediately. Like, I'm fine with waiting for the season to be over, given that there's plenty of other things to watch. Thank you, AA. I don't stream a ton. It's usually just like when I feel like I have enough of my YouTube time to... Oh, you're distracting me. I'm getting myself worked here because I can't focus down this. I need to knock him off his tower. Or just break it. Which I should probably just break it. There we go. Yeah, I don't stream as much as I would like, but I also probably stream as much as I should, given that this is not a full-time job. And I should... Most of my YouTube time is put towards making videos. I like doing it every now and again. Yeah, I think, I mean, every medium of media has its issues with the only important stuff is the stuff that's happening right now. But anime seems particularly bad with it, given the seasonal structure of things. Which is partly why the last year I really didn't bother with watching seasonal stuff and was more so just focused on what little anime I did watch. Was watching older things, and I'm still watching plenty of older stuff. Like I have an anime roulette that I do within a Discord of people. And I'm currently watching Denaro Coil, which is a 2006 anime from Madhouse. That's like I'm 20 episodes in, and I really, really like it. Like it balances out like the goofy humor with the serious sci-fi stuff that's happening rather well.
Midnight Phantasmagoria. Forth, my blade. Submit for judgment.
Let's dance.
From whence you came.
Stuff definitely gets ignored in the seasonal. Like there's so much of it anymore. Like it used to be, a couple decades ago that like, or more so like 3 or 4 decades ago, a season of anime didn't mean here's 30 new shows and your 10 movies that are coming out, and also here's another 10 OVA and ONA series. It would be like, here's the 5 anime that are being made. It was a lot more reasonable. That stuff wouldn't get completely overshadowed and forgotten about. Clear the obstacles. What are these stuff? Yeah. Paying for everything. I'm happy that I only got into anime at like the tail end of high school, so for me that was a decade ago. So by that point, streaming was enough of a thing. Like I had watched a bit of anime growing up on the Cartoon Network on what's it called? Their anime block that I'm forgetting the name of. Their very famous anime block that is completely blanking from my mind. But I never got super into anime until like a decade ago, so didn't have the issue of having to pay a lot of money for 4 episodes of an anime on a VHS in a series that is 26 episodes long. Yeah, Toonami. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why I was blanking on that. Like I had seen some Dragon Ball Z and a couple of other things back then, probably an episode or 2 of Rurouni Kenshin, but was never super into anime until I was well into my teens. Alright, well that's far enough to fast travel to. Yeah, well you're a few years older than me. I'm just turned 29, so I remember like all of that stuff was Toonami and everything was unavoidable. Like through cultural osmosis I knew enough about Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z and a couple of like the bigger anime. But never really got into it. I think it was just partly because I was a little asshole who didn't like the Dragon Ball Z episodes that would just be them talking strategy in their head. One thing that was kind of nice about the fact that getting into anime as late as I did is that, unlike with video games, where I started playing them when I was 4 or 5 years old, and things that I loved from when I was very little, um, maybe don't hold up. Most of the anime that I watched when I first started watching anime, like, I'm sure I'd go back to plenty of it and still feel pretty positive on it. Like, I'm sure there's some series that I watched when I first started that I probably wouldn't be as hot on because they're probably super tropey even at the time, but I, as someone who only seen a handful of anime, I wasn't really catching on to those tropes. Yeah, a lot of... I specifically remember a time that a friend of my brother's was grounded, so he asked my brother to watch that week's episode of Dragon Ball Z and fill him in on what happened. So we watched it, and it was just one of the episodes where, yeah, it was not anything significant going on. That's what I have to return to. Alright. I think what I'll do at this point with seasonal anime and whatnot is that I'll probably just pick like a handful of shows that I like. I want to watch, and usually I'll wait a few weeks, hear what people are talking about. Like reason I got into Wonder Egg is because my entire Twitter feed was people praising it. So I was like, all right, that's on the list of things to watch, and I started watching it like 3 weeks in, or whatever. So I think at this point, I'll just like 3 weeks into a season, make like a list of half a dozen shows I want to watch, and limit myself to that. Yeah, I feel like that's probably a way that, like, obviously a lot of people in our general age, like the millennial age range, probably got into anime via stuff that aired on Toonami, like Dragon Ball and Pokemon, all that stuff. And then Toonami would occasionally air the things like Cowboy Bebop later at night, or even something like Rurouni Kenshin that gets pretty dark at times, a little bit more violent. Or you had like a cousin or a friend who ended up with some VHS of Ninja Scroll, because that was obviously, that was one of the movies that I remember hearing about even as a kid to some degree, like the same way that like Akira and like Ghost in the Shell were popular enough that like I knew the name. And there are probably there were probably VHSs of them at the rental store that I used to go to, but me being a shitty little kid, I never got them. Too busy renting the same Godzilla movies over and over. I think this might be the last quest that I do. Yeah, there are, I mean, there are parts of Ninja Scroll, even if you manage to actually get Ninja Scroll, not something that some asshole titled Ninja Scroll and is actually just some hentai, that probably should be playing that in the living room. Some real sketchy parts of Ninja Scroll. Yeah, like at the time I didn't really think of Pokemon as like in Dragon Ball as anime as this different thing because it was just they were just cartoons on Cartoon Network that were just on at a very specific time. Plus Pokemon had, games and everything, and that was my exposure to it. I'm happy I didn't have that issue as well with anime having to torrent so much stuff when it was not as quick and high quality. Because now you can torrent stuff. Not that I would support piracy. Uh, it's totally illegal. Don't pirate things. It's very bad. But now you can just torrent stuff in 2 minutes and get a 1080p quality of the episode of a show that just aired like an hour ago with good translations and everything. So I was half paying attention to what she said she wanted me to do. Cook jade parcels, okay. Probably have that recipe. Think. I have that recipe. I don't have all the ingredients for it. So I need ham, smoked ham rather, just in general, and lotus head. Probably. No, don't want to climb that wall. Let's just buy a bunch of it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that, like, Power Rangers, I didn't ever think of that as a Japanese TV show. I didn't think of any Nintendo games I was playing at the time as, a Japanese piece of entertainment. I didn't think of Godzilla as Japanese. Kids were wonderfully oblivious to that stuff, I guess. Oh yeah, cooking jade parcels. Got distracted for a second. I need the lotus stuff. I don't think I can shop for it probably, but let me check. Oh no, I can. Silly of me. now I'm well aware of things that are, Japanese entertainment, and I'm fine with that. It's all well and good. I think it's important to have diverse tastes in entertainment and diverse voices in our entertainment. Unfortunately, the side effect of that is you get the weirdo, gatekeepy people that want all that stuff to remain this sort of niche for their small group of friends that all hate each other and hate themselves almost as much as they hate everyone else. So, like that weirdo who was trending on Twitter yesterday, trying to be all gatekeepy about anime. I looked at that for 10 seconds. So that's enough Twitter for me today. Might as well just cook as many of these as I can. I guess that's all I can. Okay. I have been I'm making it my goal this year to read more manga. Because despite having watched at least a portion of close to 500 or so anime at this point, so I've only read a couple dozen different manga, so I think I ended up finding that anime is great and all, but there's a lot of manga series out there that I think are just more for me, as the type of person who tends to prefer weird, unique stuff, or the sort of stuff that doesn't get adapted to anime, because it's just not seen as it just won't be popular enough for an anime adaptation. I tend to end up finding that oh, these are the things that I want more of in my media. So I've been trying to read a bit more manga these days. I did read Happiness. Finished that the other day. The Shuzo Oshimi manga, his vampire manga. It's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's his best work. I've read Aku no Hana, and I'm mostly caught up on Blood on the Tracks, his current manga. Both of those are very down-to-earth, realistic stuff. So it was interesting to read Happiness, which has more supernatural horror in it. But at the same time, I felt the things I love about Aku no Hana and Blood on the Tracks are just the the horror that comes from the tension in between these human relationships. And it's not they're not very often violent manga, but they're still incredibly terrifying and horrifying. But Happiness seemed to more so rely on, especially by the end, lots and lots of gratuitous gore and violence, which is fine. I think that's a totally valid way horror can go, and I think it actually worked pretty well in that manga, but I think the character work in that definitely was lacking in comparison. The main character of Happiness is just another one of Oshimi's patented sort of meek, nerdy boys that he loves to have as his main characters. And this one, just unlike Kasuga from Mako no Hana, and I forget the main character's name from Blood on the Tracks. Like, there's nothing about this character and Happiness that really. They're almost not the main character. How little detail they have to them. Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of anime that seems to exist mostly because it's an advertisement for the manga. And sometimes, like, that stuff works out really well because you get a staff that's passionate and they want to make something really great, even if they know that it's probably never going to fully adaptate that story. Like something like Land of the Lustrous. Like, Studio Orange absolutely nailed the combination of 3D and 2D in that anime, and that show is fantastic. I don't think we'll ever get a season 2 of Land of the Lustrous, unfortunately. But I will just go read that manga now. Okay, let's climb right back up. I'm eagerly awaiting more Chainsaw Man at this point. I'm kind of curious where that series is going to go. And I'm also happy that it's going to be a not weekly thing anymore, so that the author can not become like every other manga author and destroy themselves trying to write a weekly comic and maybe have their work benefit from being able to take more time on it. I mean, don't get me wrong, with stuff like Chainsaw Man is more often not a gorgeous manga, even when it's being like that sort of, it has a clunky sort of look to it, or an unrefined look to it in a lot of spots. I think that's intentional and it works most of the time. But I'm excited to see what that author can do with just only writing one chapter a month. Yeah, Chainsaw Man ended, but it's being taken out of the regular Shonen Jump, which publishes weekly or whatever, and it's being put on to their Shonen Jump Plus or Jump Plus, which is their free online digital manga. It's separate from the Shonen Jump manga app that they charge like $2 for or $3 for monthly. So Chainsaw Man ended its what it's referring to as its first arc and is going to its second arc, the school arc. I mean, I don't want to get into spoilers, but I think even if it were to have ended where it ended after these 80 or these 97 chapters, it would have been fine. Oh yeah. That's the other thing, is that there's a lot of companies now, like oh God, why can't I think of, I'm terrible at remembering names of stuff while I'm streaming, but Justin Savakis works for them. He does a lot of he used to work at Anime News Network as the anime man, doing question stuff, reader questions, whatnot. I know he why am I blanking on this company's name, but he does a lot of work with just kind of remastering and touching up old anime to. Oh, Discotech. That's that. Yeah, Discotech is a really good company that's been gussing up old anime, re-releasing them on Blu-ray, and like not crappy, just bullshit slapdash releases. Like genuinely, you can tell there's a lot of care put into this stuff because the people working on it know the value of it. Yeah, I thought Chainsaw Man ended very, very well. Literally, that first arc is... That manga is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Such a weird thing to see from Shonen Jump. I really hope that anime adaptation of it does that manga justice, because I think if it gets a good treatment, it would really do wonders for the popularity of that series. I did read the first few chapters of Kaiju number 8. This is another one of Jump's manga that they're also putting out on the online service. And I want to like it more than I do so far, because it's like a cool initial concept of main character is not a dude going out to kill the kaiju. He is the person, the 30-year-old guy who desperately wanted to be the big hero, didn't make it, and is now just the guy cleaning up the corpses of the kaiju. But it seems like it's gonna end up turning into actually now he's gonna be one of the people fighting on the front lines and become maybe a bit more generic than I wanted out of that initial setup. I have not checked out Fire Punch. That is on my short list of things to read. I'm probably going to read it within, or start reading it within the next month or so. What am I currently trying to finish up? I think I've finished all the series that I've wanted to finish that are, done. So maybe that's what I'll start this week. Now I'm being stared at by the dog that I am looking after, because you haven't gone outside in a little while, probably a few hours. I'm going to finish this conversation with this person, probably call it, let this pup outside, and yeah, I think getting a region-free Blu-ray player would be a wise choice. I mean, or at least even because they do it the way that I think that Blu-ray players are grouped up, that North America and Japan have the same region technically, if I remember correctly. So that sure does make things convenient for us over here. And like I said, companies like Discotech doing a lot of good work remastering stuff. And especially in the last couple years, they've really been putting in the work to bring a lot of old stuff and just make it available. Because so often, old anime, just your only option is to either drop far too much money on a mediocre DVD that got put out by a company that's now defunct, or take to the high seas of the internet. Like, for example, the 1997 Berserk anime that I spent $100 on, or $110 on that DVD. Love that show, but that's far too much money. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. I appreciate everyone stopping by, appreciate everyone who came in and helped out. As far as what's gonna be happening on the channel in the near future, hoping to have another video out by the end of the month. Another probably 15 to 20-ish minute video. And then we'll see from there. There's going to be a handful of Mass Effect stuff leading up to the release of the remasters. And I'm going to try and sprinkle in anime and manga stuff as well. There's a couple, at least one more old anime I want to talk about before like June of this year, hopefully. So yeah, thank you for stopping by, and I will see you the next time I stream.